you are a book lover and you like reading, hello and welcome back to Rue's Life. So it's the 14th of February, and for most of you, you will be, or will have by the time you watch this video, be celebrating Valentine's Day, if that's your thing. But for me, it's my birthday, and I've got a whole day off, and the only real plans that I have, I want to get out and do something in the garden. I just want to spend some nice time, and I will be meeting up with my lovely swim buddy Jules, and we're going to have a swim in the Mere at 2 o'clock. But I just thought I'd have a little catch up while I'm in here. So I had said I'd talk about books that I've read and to be read. So those of you that are following me will know I'm still reading this fabulous almanac. And anybody that's into nature and gardening and the moon and the sun and the weather and folklore and anything like that. So this is a seasonal guide. This is the 2024 version, but it's Leah Leendert's, not quite sure how you pronounce it, but anyway, I've had Leah's almanac before. I had one last year. I've now discovered them. I think this is going to be an annual thing, so highly recommend. The first one I had as a gift, and I bought this one for myself, and actually I bought the same copy as a gift for somebody else because it's such a lovely book. I just thought I'd show you this as well because I've mentioned in one of my previous videos, I think I was over at the plot, about journaling. So there's so many ways of journaling, and journaling's a really big thing for me. I've just revealed the fact that I'm still in my pyjamas. If I'd have just sat here, you'd never have known. You'll have seen my junk journaling. The junk journal obviously takes more time, but for me, I have such a busy life. I know we all have busy lives, but between living on the farm, that's a full-time job in itself, looking after all the animals and just being here. And I absolutely love it. It's a pleasure. This is in no way me complaining, but there is a lot of work involved, no matter how much I enjoy it. And then, of course, I hold down a full-time job as well. And Krista holds down a full-time job. And then I do have chronic health conditions, and I've had some newer health issues as well. And, a few other things thrown into the mix. And sometimes time is tricky, but it's very important to me. And I've learned, I was just chatting with some colleagues the other day actually at work about self-care, and I think people get all hung up on, it's got to be about spending 3 hours in a bubble bath. And that is not the case. And for me, if we can take 10 to 20 minutes each day to do something for ourselves, and it might be sitting quietly with our thoughts. For me, I love to make a mocha pot coffee. It could be spending time journaling. And the beauty of these journals, and these are the ones I found I've kind of on my go-to now. Now I did have, I'm not sure if I've got it hanging around. Yes, bear with me. Pajama shot again. Oh, it's right at the bottom. But I did have it's in the bottom of a stack, and I think it'll all fall over. The type of journal where, you traditionally journal and write either daily, or I used to just write as and when. But what I found is actually, for me, I've kind of naturally fallen into the junk journaling, which does take time, and I'll often spend a whole afternoon. But you need at least an hour, or I certainly do, because I don't have an area that I can leave set up. So I do have to get all my kit out, and I usually take it through and sit in the dining room at the table. But the junk journaling I find is a mindful and slow activity that, as I say, an hour or more. And then I've been doing this gratitude journal, which I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to flip through to March, just because I don't really want to show you my innermost secrets and thoughts. But if you can see here, it's literally enough to write a line, 2 lines, a word even. The absolute beauty of this, you'll probably notice it's got 2 languages. So we're actually in Wales, we're in North Wales, and I did speak Welsh, although I'm not Welsh. by birth, we were taught Welsh in school, and I was actually in the midstream. So we had the Welsh stream, the English stream, and I was in the middle, and used Welsh a lot. And some of my family speak Welsh. And one of my lovely sisters gave this to me for Christmas. So just look, I may have shown it to you already, but isn't that beautiful, with the hare on the front and the barn owl on the back, and all the way through it, it is illustrated. I mean, there's a page there, and then there's full pages as well. I can just find one for you. There's the moon. It's just beautiful. And then it does have the Welsh as well as the English for the days of the week and the months and so on. And it's just beautiful. But the point being, I just write, you know, even on a bad day, it might just be, I'm grateful for time to have a cup of tea. But it's just, I try to write a couple of lines every day. Some days it's really easy, and some other days it's harder. And the little bookmark that I'm using, let's put it up against a page. Isn't that just lovely? And one of the vets that works for us, she and her daughter made a few of these and left them for us at Christmas time, at Yuletide, for us to have as a little gift. And I chose the yellow one. So that's enough about journaling. I'm still reading, and I don't know who gave this to me, so whoever it is, if you're watching, I do apologise. It seems to have got coffee and tea splattered. I tend to leave things on the top, on my bedside cabinet, and I'm a terror for dumping cups on top of it. So apologies to those that think that's absolute book sacrilege, but it's happened. So Richard Osman, the Thursday Murder Club, it's always a reflection of my life as to how long it takes me to read a book. And when I'm in control, shall we say, I'm cautious with that, because it's a little bit of a dangerous term, but you know what I mean. When things are falling into place more, and work isn't taking up too much of my time, and I don't have other catastrophes going on, or, you know, big issues to deal with, I usually fly through a couple of books a month. This book, I am aware, I was reading when I was in hospital for a procedure, which I think was in October or November, and I just started it. And what are we now? It's February, so even if it was November, December, January, February, that's 3 months on one book. That's not like me. However, I really want to get back to my reading, because I know how good it is for me. I've just been talking about self-care and mindfulness, and reading a book. If I haven't got time to read a few pages of a book a day, then the balance has gone the wrong way, hasn't it? So it's a little reminder to just slow down and find ways to take time back. So I want to finish the Thursday Murder Club. And if you just bear with me, I'm going to get some of the other books, because I had promised you book lovers that watch me. So if you're not into books, I would skip this section, and there's going to be some gardening and other bits and pieces coming up later in the video. But I am going to talk about my books to be read pile. So if books aren't your thing, then I would skip. So bear with me while I get those books together, and we can have a little chat about them. And then you can let me know if it's a book you've read, if you'd recommend it. Don't give away the plot or the ending. If you've enjoyed it, or even what books you would recommend or that you're reading at the moment. Okay, so it's quite a big pile. I'm not going to spend hours doing this. I'm not going to spend too long on each book, but I just thought you'd be interested. And there is an explanation as to why this to be read pile has got so big. If you are a book lover and you like reading and you like the sort of book clubs, if you haven't discovered and don't follow the wonderful Richard and Paul, I will put a link to their channel. I'd be amazed if you haven't already found them. They're absolutely wonderful, and they've been doing a read along, like a book club. And actually, I'm really devastated. So I know occasionally Richard and or Paul, excuse me, you do sometimes watch some of my videos. So massive apologies if you are watching. I did start reading this because I already had the book, and then you were doing it as part of your read along, and I started reading it, and then life just went crazy. So I haven't been joining in, and I'm really cross with myself, because, you know, I love your channel, I love watching you guys, and I love reading. And I love a book club and I love a good read along. So what was there not to like? I don't even know how many books on you are now, but I'm hoping you're going to continue that series, and at some point I can catch up with you. So go and find Richard and Paul, just because they're fabulous, but also if you want to join in with their read alongs. So in no particular order, I've got these books. Now some are things that I will read from cover to cover, and others and reread, and others not so much. I might just pick them up and flick. This is called The Natural Health Service. I had it recommended to me, and it's by Isabel Hardman, and it's How Nature Can Mend Your Mind. This is a book I've had for a very long time, and I have dipped in and out of it. It's the sort of book that you can pick up and put down, but it's on my pile to remind me that it's there, and it's called Self-Care for the Real World, and it's by Nadia Narain and Katia Narain Phillips. And yeah, it's just a really useful book if you suffer with your mental health, or even if you don't, if you just want to protect your mental health. It's a really good book. This is called The Wisdom of Nature, and it's by Dixie Wills. And just a little bit off the back, from bacteria and bats to slugs and sleet, the underdogs of the natural world can teach us all sorts of unexpected lessons. So it's a little kind of fact book. I haven't started reading it yet. I've had a little flip into it. It's got, again, some lovely illustrations, and it's just kind of learning from nature. Doesn't nature have a lot to teach us? Those of you that have followed me for a long time and may remember my ponderings from the Polytunnel series, you'll probably remember me talking about these books. And I've put them away. Sometimes we start a book, don't we? We just never get into it. So I started Conversations with Friends, Sally Rooney, and I also have Normal People, and I just never got into this one. So they're on the pile, and I may have, sometimes I do this, I just can't read a book. I can't get into it. I can't get past the first couple of chapters. So I put it away, and then sometimes weeks, months, years later, I pick it up and fly through it. So I think sometimes it depends on where we are in our heads. So I've got those, and I'll probably give them another go. This is one I do pick up and flip through. I haven't read it from cover to cover, and I know I've mentioned it before, but it's called London Under London. It's a second-hand book, and it's just absolutely fascinating. If you're interested in all the underground networks that exist underneath London, this is a fabulous read. I found it secondhand. I don't know if they still print it, but somebody else, I think, recommended it to me. Can't remember who it was now. It might have been Luke Catlar. I don't know if you follow him. He lives in London, hence. And I'm sure it was him. Again, I'll put a link to his channel because he's absolutely lovely. Yeah, lovely young man. Recently moved house from a flat to bought his first house. He's got a beautiful Labrador. He visits his mum in the countryside. He's into thrifting and cooking. Amazing cook. I would say he could be a chef. But yeah, lovely chap. So check out his channel. My auntie's given me, because she'd seen me reading the first, so she's given me the second book in the Thursday Murder Club. So of course I'll have that ready. This is Two for Joy by Adam Henson. A farmer's seasonal guide to the countryside. So just really relevant to me, and I want to read that. This is one I think I've talked about before. It's called The Wild Remedy, How Nature Mends Us, a Diary by Emma Mitchell. Now, I've had this for such a long time because I remember having it and then thinking, oh, you know what? Because it's a January to December book, I'm going to wait and start reading it in January. And I think that was not this January just gone, but the one before. Didn't do it. And of course, I haven't started reading in January either. But you know what? That's a bit silly, isn't it? So I think I'll leave it near the top, and then I can just, again, I can dip in and out, but I don't have to read it cover to cover January to December. I'd like to do that at some point, but I think I might start dipping in and out of that one. This was very kindly gifted to me by one of my old and dear friends, and it's called Winterset Hollow by Jonathan Edward Durham. And I haven't started reading it. I'm looking forward to it because I've had it a long time, and I'm aware that I've thanked the person for it, but I haven't started reading it. And I'm sure, you know, if I gifted something to somebody and they just put it to one side, it's a little ungrateful, but I'm sure they'll understand. But I'm looking forward to that one. This I have talked about before. This is Peak Performance Under Pressure, Lessons from a Helicopter Rescue Doctor. It's by Dr. Stephen Hearns. And I did mention this in a previous video where I'd been to Congress. So those of you that don't know or might be new to my channel, I am an emergency out of hours critical care veterinary nurse, and recently went to a big CPD, so continued professional development event, Congress, and the key speaker was Dr. Stephen Hearns, and he was absolutely, like, we were all just in awe. An amazing chap, very inspirational speaker. And because we were there, those of us that are leaders or managers, because we have a leadership and management day on the first day, and then the other days are just open to anybody in the veterinary industry. They don't even have to work for our company, you know, but the first day is for leaders in our company. So it was, we all got gifted a copy of his book as leaders, which is a lovely thing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading that. I've got Educated Tara Westover. So Educated by Tara Westover, and I don't even know where it came from. It's clearly a second-hand book. Can't remember who gave it to me, but it's on my pile, and at some point I will be reading it. I have this book. So we lost Sinead O'Connor recently, which was very sad, and I'd never read her book, and it's called Rememberings. And I haven't got around to reading it, so that's something I must read. I've got Charlotte Mendelsohn, The Exhibitionist. Again, I can't remember where or when I acquired this. I vaguely think that it was recommended to me, so that is one to read. I've got The Beekeeper of Aleppo. Again, recommended, gifted, given, can't remember, by Christy Leftery. So yeah, looking forward to that one. And then, it's like a library in here, isn't it? I've got The Horse Dancer by Jojo Moyles. Who doesn't love a bit of Jojo Moyles? I have got Kate Humble, A Year of Simply Living. And I picked this up secondhand in one of the National Trust secondhand bookshops. And I just love Kate Humble. The Joys of Life Less Complicated. So very much looking forward to reading that. On the same trip, so I've probably talked about these already, I've got The Morville Year by Catherine Swift, which is a gardening book. So Catherine Swift was one of the most admired gardening writers of her generation, and this is, she returns to a year in the life of the garden that she created over 20 years in the Dower House at Morville. And that's actually, I think it's in Shropshire, so not that far from here, so I'd like to go and visit. So I'd like to read the book and also go and visit that garden. I also have this, which is Landlines by Raina Wynn. And I read Raina Wynn's first book, The Salt Path. Oh my goodness, wonderful, 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 wonderful. Absolutely loved that book. And then I think there was a second, and I believe this may be the third. I will be honest, I didn't really enjoy the second book, and I really struggled with it. And I think this is possibly the third. So I think I loved the first so much I bought the second and third, and then didn't really get on with the second, so haven't really started the third, because I tend to do that. If I find a book I love, I'll buy the next couple in the series, and then yeah. So I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a chance, and maybe I'll even go back to the second one. And like I say, sometimes you go back to them and you enjoy them. This is another one I picked up secondhand in the National Trust bookshop, and it's A Little History of British Gardening by Jenny Uglow, and it's just a really lovely, lovely book. So it's a history of gardening. This is The Art of Mindful Walking, which I was gifted, and it's by Adam Ford, which I'm really looking forward to reading. This I've also was gifted. Some of these are secondhand, some of them not. This is The Opposite of Butterfly Hunting, The Tragedy and the Glory of Growing Up, by Ivana Lynch. And I'm looking forward to that. I've got a feeling one of my sisters gave me that after she'd read it. This is Jodie Pickle, The Book of Two Ways. Saw it in a charity shop, loved Jodie Pickle, so couldn't leave it there. And then this is Cloud Street by Tim Winton, and this was given to me by Chris's auntie, who I absolutely adore. We have a really lovely relationship. We get on really well. We've got a lot in common. She used to be a librarian, and sometimes there would be books that they could buy, and so she'd pass this one on to me. So it is an ex-library book, and I don't know much about it other than she clearly thought I would enjoy it, which is why she gifted it to me. And that's it. So that is my great big pile of to be read books, which under normal circumstances I would fly through in, oh, I don't know, 6 to 12 months. But things, as I say, have been a little bit unbalanced of late. So I think what I need to do is get this one finished and then possibly move on to the next one. And then I can just start slowly working my way through these books. But what's lovely is I don't have to think about going out and buying. I'm just going to have them here, and then I can just think, oh, which one shall I read next? And then just while we're here, other things that have been going on. Last night we went to the NEC and we went to see Bill Bailey. Oh my goodness, he was absolutely brilliant. Really, really fabulous show. We really enjoyed ourselves. It was brilliant. So that was a treat. And then today is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, probably not in this video, but I'll get some footage possibly, hopefully for the next one. We're going to the NEC again on Friday for the day. We're going to the Boat Life exhibition. And I'll probably do a little bit of filming while we're there and share that with you. So it's all things boat related. Again, those of you that have followed me for a long time will know, or you may have missed it, but anybody that's new or anybody that's interested, our long-term goal and plan is when we're not living here on the farm, we don't own the farm, we rent it, so we can't stay here forever. And I don't like thinking about it because we love it here so much, but we're not getting any younger. And we won't be able to maintain this forever, financially or physically, because you know it's a lot of work. So eventually, because we both, cut a story short, we both got off the property ladder, and we rent the farm, and we're both into our 50s, so we're not going to be buying a house anytime soon, and it's not really something we want to do. So we love living here, we love the lifestyle. But when we can no longer afford it and physically can't do it, well, we'll probably do this before we get to that point. We will be buying and living on a narrowboat. I've heard of this, but what drew my attention to it, again, I'll drop a link to channels below. But a couple of my favourite narrowboat channels had, two of them, the lovely Amy and Wes from Boat Time. I think they were speakers last year and visited. And I'm trying to think who else went to Boat Life. But it was Amy and Wes that really inspired me. And somebody mentioned it again recently. Anywho, I bought tickets and we're going on Friday, so I'll film a little bit of that for you. So there will obviously be, sort of powerboats, speedboats, that kind of thing, and all that malarkey, but also a lot of narrowboats and wide beams and canal boats. I'm sure the Canal and River Trust will have a stand, I would imagine, so we can go and look around and learn. But there'll also be things, as you're aware, we like our paddleboarding, so there'll be water sports as well, like paddleboarding and kayaking, that kind of thing. So we're really looking forward to an exciting day out again in Birmingham. And you will have seen in last week's video that we've got a lovely new puppy, and I will tell you more bits about her as the weeks go by. But she was a really, really poorly little doggy, and she's recovered, but she still needs to put a little bit of weight on. And she is quite young, so she's somewhere around the 6-month marker. And so lots of training to do with her. So what I'm trying to do each day is put lots of fun playtime in and little bits of training. So as I say, lots of fun time. At the moment, I'm working her on a long line and harness where she has time that she just plays. So I'm not asking her to do anything other than have fun. And then periodically I will put a command like sit or wait in, just to keep her focused. But at the moment we have some training time and some just let's go and burn some energy off time. So I had actually an unexpected video chat with a lovely Danny from the Grow Up channel. I'll pop a link. I'm sure you've watched Danny, but if you don't, I'll put a link again in the description below. And the lovely Jane from Jane's Growing Garden, who have been such dear friends of mine for a long time. So we had a quick birthday video chat, which was lovely. It went on for longer than I anticipated, but it was just so nice to have a really good catch up. So I'm back on schedule and I'm actually here at the Mere, ready to meet my swim buddy Jules for a swim. And you know, I'm having such a lovely day so far. So I've spent time with the animals. I've had a couple of nice cups of coffee. I've just taken it steady. And yeah, I'm going to have a swim now and hopefully get some gardening done later. But if not later today, tomorrow.
a coffee break because it's just started raining, but I'm really starting to feel in control of this plot again. So I had started weeding the flower bed, but today I just decided I wanted to keep pushing on with the veg beds because I'm going to be needing the space, and the flower bed can wait a little bit. And then the other areas, so I'm concentrating on the beds at the moment because obviously I'm going to need them to grow in. The pathways do need attention, as I mentioned in a previous video, but I need to scrape a lot of that old wood chip back because it's starting to mulch down and grow things. So I need to scrape it back before I can replace it. So it's going to be a bigger job, and at the moment it's fine. You know, I can walk up and down them. Yes, there's some weeds growing, but we're not in full growing, you know, whoosh. So I just want to concentrate on those beds. So as I say, I'm having a little coffee break, but I thought while I do that, let's have a little chat. So those of you that follow me will have seen that I'd done all the bulbs. So I had the hyacinths, the greater hyacinths, and the little daffodils, and they've been absolutely lovely in these various little pots and vessels. But they've been lovely, and they're over now. So I've just brought them into the polytunnel for now. Now, I don't want to leave them in here for too long because obviously I want to save those bulbs, but some of these, like this lovely teapot and this gorgeous Silvac little vase, they're not going to be frost proof. So, you know, I mean, they're antique pottery at the end of the day. So I don't want to leave them out here if the temperatures plummet, because it still gets to minus figures here in the polytunnel. So I'm putting them there for now, but I will address them. We're going to have a mild spell, but it'll probably go cold again. So I will get them out, and then what I need to do is I'll probably just get a big bucket, plant them all in, allow them to die back naturally, and for the goodness to go back into the bulbs, which I can then save. But I can also save my pots and vessels for another year. And then while we're in here, let's get the camera a bit closer and I can show you what's going on with the onions and the sweet peas. So I've had them going underneath the little propagators, but as you can see, let's take these lids off. So I'd opened the vents of all because, let's just capture that water and not let it go into my coffee. You can see these onions are looking great. Oh, don't waste the water. And the sweet peas also are looking great. So the sweet peas we've got, let's get you in, let's bring the tray to you. So I've got a lot of germination on those. And the onions, so the onions I'm going to take the lids off now, because they're going crazy. But the sweet peas I'm going to leave the lid on, but with the vent open. And just out of interest, it is actually 20.6 degrees in here today, so I've actually opened the door behind you as well to get a bit of a breeze. And it's 16.2 degrees outside. I had a swim yesterday in the Mere, which you will have seen, and it was about 14 degrees yesterday. Water temperature was colder, but we are getting some warmer weather, which is great for things like the sweet peas and the spring bulbs. And then the other thing I've done is I've pulled the chard from here. There's just a few leaves that dropped that I need to collect together, and I actually gave those to the chickens. So I'm just going to sit in the shed. There's some sheep in the field opposite. They're not our sheep, grazing away. It's a bit miserly out there, a bit miserly and drizzly, but I'm actually looking across at the bed that I have weeded that's looking really nice, and it's a lovely view from here. So I'm just going to chill and have my coffee, and I'm thinking about all the things I need to do, but I'm really pleased with the progress I've made. So I'm already aware that this video is quite a long one, so I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to sit here, as I say, and enjoy my coffee. And talking of coffee, if you do want to buy me a coffee, there is a link below. Absolutely no obligation. I love making content and my videos will always be free. But if you wanted to contribute in any way, then I'd be super grateful. And as I say, the link is below, and I'm always grateful to anybody that's bought me a coffee. Thank you very much. And for anybody that's new to my channel, thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. As I say, it's absolutely free. It costs you nothing. But if you click the notification bell, you will get reminders of all my latest videos as they come up. And by subscribing, you really do help my channel to grow, because YouTube are more likely to suggest it to other people, and it will help my channel. So, you know, I feel if you're enjoying my content, if you just do me that favour, click on the subscribe and hit that bell so you'll get notifications, as I say, of all my latest content as it comes out. But for now, thank you so much. Let me know how you are and what you've been up to. Drop me a comment below, because I love to read them all, and I do try my very best to answer them all. Take care, and I'll see you all again really, really soon.